Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ram podcast. My name is Richard.
And I'm Mark.
How you doing, Mark? You doing all right?
Quite an exciting week. Yeah, how about yourself?
Very much. We have got a lot to talk about, which I must admit, I'm actually rather surprised, to be quite honest. I was
Yeah.
very fearful of what we were going to talk about, ironically, because there's so many pay-per-views happening. I was thinking, like, what are we actually going to talk about? But there's more content than ever. So I don't know why I thought that, to be quite honest. But yeah, it's been an exciting week. I've caught up on pretty much everything, and I've kind of broken this down into, say, like 3 parts. So something happened on.
Yeah.
I wrote down last week's Raw. It wasn't. It was SmackDown. Something happened there, and then we'll talk about Saturday night main event, and then also catching up on Raw this week. So we up to date?
We are indeed. We have lots of surprises to talk about, I think.
Yeah.
Which was good.
Okay. Well, without further ado, let's get involved. Let's get into it. So
here we go.
SmackDown last week. I must admit, I didn't watch the episode. I just caught the ending of it. The return of the Wyatt Six, which have definitely been on hiatus for some kind of reason. Like, they had like a really heavy introduction, very theatrical, all the backstage scenes with Chad Gable being attacked. And everything about 6 to 8 months ago. I'm not actually sure when, but it was quite a long time ago. And then nothing really happened after that. So they kind of went on to hiatus for some reason, maybe some backstage drama. I really don't know. But anyway, they're back. Okay, into invading the tag match with the Street Profits. And I should know this, but I don't actually know who was involved. But now brings them back, and they come back and decimate everyone in the ring. But my question to you, Mark, is what do you do with them?
I was going to ask you the same question of why now? Why at this point would you bring them back? Like, why wasn't that like a Raw after Mania or a SmackDown just after Mania? Why this week? And why also Alexa Bliss returning 2 weeks before?
Yeah.
It kind of all seems to like be mismatched. Yeah. That should have all happened at the same time. It didn't feel as epic as it should have.
No, it didn't. It felt... I was reading the crowd reaction, which is something that I think most of us tend to do. It's not just about the content inside the ring, it's how the crowd reacts to it. And I think they were... slight undertones of being a little bit puzzled and underwhelmed. They didn't quite get the reactions I thought they would. And it was kind of like, okay, but... I think they brought them back now simply because SummerSlam is 2 nights, and that's a lot of matches you've got to fill out there. So, okay, so you've got the Wyatt Six, but it's going to be 5 of them because Nikki Cross is a girl, unless you do like a cross kind of mixed tag team match. I'm not entirely sure what happens, but I think they're gearing up for a match at SummerSlam, but I can't really think who they would go against. Either way, whoever they go against, they're losing. So maybe someone like the Street Profits, maybe the people that were the wrestlers that were involved in the match in SmackDown for their return, they just bundle those guys together and go, yeah, there we go, have your debut match. And I'm intrigued to see what they do with them, because at the moment they haven't actually done like any wrestling at all. At the moment they've just kind of bombarded and invaded the matches, but not actually done anything yet. So that's so far. That's all I've got. I don't know in regards with these at the moment.
I think they had a little thing with Karrion Kross. I think they might have had a couple of matches with him and his stable, but there wasn't anything big. There wasn't anything on. I don't think there was anything on the paper. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I think one of them was injured, and that's why they've been kept off the thing. But what is it, Rich, that about these returns where they're being thrown into mid-card, tag team is mid-card, and The Miz with Aleister Black, the mid-card, Rusev with the Alpha Academy, it's below mid-card. Why are they throwing all these returns into there? Why isn't there anything a bit bigger than that?
Well, I mean, that's the thing you see. Every wrestler that kind of gets thrown back into the game is going to go into it as a mid card. You know, like for example, Rusev before he left for a, no, I don't think he left actually. I think he was fired before he went to AEW. He was on his way to becoming in the championship scene, but for some reason Vince McMahon just didn't see that in him. They would, even though the crowd kept going with the whole Rusev dude, like he was completely over. But nothing happened and they let him go. So now that he's gone, and he's been gone for quite a long time and come back, he has essentially entered the kind of mid-card scene. So it's like, okay, we can't put you in the World Championship scene because we've been writing all of these stories, these narratives for the people who are in that scene or will be entering it. So yeah, it's at the moment you've got an overabundance of wrestlers, but then again, you've also got an overabundance of shows. So I'm like, there will be a spot for you. They just won't be in the limelight at the moment. But I'm excited to see what they do with them because as from now, I don't know what you do with Aleister Black. Rusev looks like he's starting something with Sheamus, which I know is jumping ahead a bit. That was hinted at Raw, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we can start the ball rolling with Rusev. Aleister Black with the Miz, I don't know what they're going to do yet, but they're going to have a lot of work to build up and just see how things go. Where can you slot them in to current storylines? Because they've got a lot of wrestlers at the moment, and I don't know. But yeah, and the first confirmation, I was going to move on to the next bit, unless there's anything else you wanted to add with this.
I think you'd have a better chance with the Wyatts if we were a heel stable.
Yeah.
Because Bray Wyatt started off and he got big through his heel runs.
Yeah.
He didn't get big as a babyface. And I get the reason they're doing it. They're playing off like Bray Wyatt's death.
Yeah.
So
it's a homage to him. Definitely.
That face reaction. Yeah. But make them badass, man. Make them like be murking people off every like left, right, and center, like doing some evil stuff. Like, don't have them fanny around like take out like the Street Profits. I'm not interested. Like, just not interested in.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Don't need another tag team.
Yeah. I mean, the tag team division at the moment is looking pretty strong. You've got a lot of credible like tag teams rather than just having two wrestlers bundled together as a tag team. Usually got the War Raiders, the New Day, Street Profits, Motor City Rampage, Machine Gun. I can never ever remember their name, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's different every single time.
What you were going to call them this week?
Silly Sausage Machine Gun Party. I don't know. I'm just like, just like you know what I'm talking. I keep saying Motor City Rampage, but I'm pretty sure that's a computer game. But I'm like, maybe not. But I can't remember what they're called. But they're pretty good. You've also got Axiom Verge as well. So you've got a lot of tag teams.
We don't need another set of tag teams thrown in there. I don't think it's needed.
No.
Who's annoying that needs taken out? Like the Wyatt Six needs to go after somebody that we really don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously good luck to the writers. I'm very interested to see what they do with them. Instead of just having me sit here slagging them off for no reason because I haven't come up with anything constructive, which means my opinion is not valid. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. So
we're just doing a couple.
Yeah, they'll decimate mid-carders for a bit. People that are like, okay, you guys are just here as like cannon fodder, basically, for the Wyatt Six. And eventually build into a crescendo, which it looks like, obviously, Seth Rollins' faction is slowly growing. And we'll get into that in a moment. And I was like, that could be something in the future, like faction versus faction. But they're not anywhere near close at the moment. So they need a little bit more narrative and a bit more push and a bit more action, to be honest, to really put them on that level. But we'll just see. But I think they brought them back simply because SummerSlam. And I was like, yes, please have a match, to be quite honest. So that'll be great. And the only thing that happened on SmackDown was our first confirmation for the men's Money in the Bank, which was LA Knight, which is one step closer to what I think might happen.
In your prediction?
Again, other things have happened that maybe started to make me think differently. But yet again, we'll get into that. Saturday night main event.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
With this.
Yeah.
Because we had five matches.
Yes.
It did more than Backlash for me.
I agree.
So yeah.
So we'll go through the events. We'll go through the events in chronological order. So it was a nice little, as a little pop-up pay-per-view, 2 hours. Pleasantly surprised to go onto YouTube and see, oh, the whole thing's 2 hours. Okay, no problem. Also wrote down, just saw a guy in the crowd where it was panning over, a guy wearing a Wrestling is Real t-shirt, which I always thought was quite funny. But we opened up with the match, which was Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. I can't read my own handwriting. And this was a good opener. You know, there's nothing spectacular, but I was like, I was actually quite surprised to see this match going first, if I'm honest. And I thought, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I thought it'd be more toward the end of the pay-per-view, but no, screw it. We're doing it now. So I thought, What were your thoughts on this match?
Well, I kind of saw the spoiler by accident of this one. I turned my phone on, and it was the first thing that was there, and it was
naturally
the ending of the match, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah. Okay.
So throughout the match, I think I lost all sort of like attention because I knew that there was something. I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
And then when I just saw like Bronson Reed just hop over the rail and he scoots across the camera. It was just really comically timed. Like, I need to get into position, and then go.
I thought the return of Bronson Reed coming into the match, I thought, oh, that's actually quite a nice thing, because Bronson Reed is not a wrestler that I've particularly thought about. But I think putting him with Bron Breakker and Seth Rollins, I was like, this really makes sense. I was like, that's it. He's a nice addition. He's obviously, I would say the muscle, but you've got Bron Breakker right there. I was like, you could do something with this. I was like, so Seth Rollins is building his faction. How big it will be, I don't know. It might just end up being these three guys. But you've got to, you look at it as you look at those three together and you're like, okay, so this definitely could be a triple threat match between the three at some point. I think we all naturally think that. Are they called the Vision? I don't know. I was like, what is this faction called? I was like, I'll just put down Seth and Co. Because I don't know what they're called, but it says, we are the Vision. This is the Visionaries. And I'm like, are they called the Visionaries then? Is that right? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they're called. But naturally...
It works.
Yeah, it works. I was like, okay, I was like, this Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker, Seth Rollins, I was like, this is a triple threat match I'd like to see at some point. I think if you build the story right, I think it could be quite good. But yeah, a nice little pleasant surprise. The match was fine. It was a good, fast-paced opening match. It did the trick, in my opinion. So, and I wrote down, you could have a Bloodline versus we'll call them the Visionaries, or the Vision for now, because I think that's what they're called. I might have just made that up. Like Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu versus these guys. I was like, that could be a decent match. Maybe Survivor Series down the line. I don't know. I thought there's some possibilities you could do something with that. So, and apart from that, that's pretty much all I've got there. So is there anything else you've got on this match you want to talk about?
No, I didn't really pay attention to. I can't remember what happened other than the Bronson Reed slamming CM Punk through the thing. That's all I can remember happening. Yeah,
that's it.
The rest of the pay-per-view has sat. The rest of the pay-per-view is sat in my head.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's the thing. It was decent enough, but apart from Bronson's Reed return, which, let's be honest, was meant to be the only real main takeaway from this match. This match was kind of happening to bring him into the faction. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I say this about the whole pay-per-view, and this is the ad breaks were suffocating. So, like in the first match on the pay-per-view,
Oh yeah.
20 minutes in, I was like, we've already had two quite long ad breaks. So I was always flicking through YouTube and I thought, this is suffocating, to be quite honest. So, but it's a free pay-per-view, so should I complain? I guess not really, but it's just infuriating, to be quite honest. Okay. Moving on to a match that I did not know was on the card. I don't know if it was added on the night or not, but I had no idea. It was Chelsea Green versus Selena Vega for the Women's American Championship. And this was okay. 5 minutes and 10 seconds this match was. One interesting point though. I really liked the camera angles they used at the beginning of the match. They were kind of going for this guerrilla kind of like following the wrestlers in the ring. And I thought that was quite interesting. Why did they do that with just this match and nothing else? I thought maybe they switched to the wrong camera. I don't know.
Maybe it's something to do with the secret service. Like it's all like, the camera following her around. I don't know. But I did notice a lot of like I don't know if there was like accidents or if the camera angles were different. But I did notice that a few things went wrong.
Yeah.
Including the ending of the match.
Yes.
Where Piper Niven and Fire were on the outside, where it felt like minutes, just facing the other way. When I think the spot was meant to happen like a bit quicker.
Yeah.
But it just felt like it was a bit disappointing because I like I like all these people. It just didn't go to plan, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely rough around the edges, which is to be expected. Things go wrong, but if I was going to keep it positive, Selena Vega taking the powerbomb bump on the outside of the ring, I was just like, you ain't faking that. So I was like, unfortunately, the 619 kind of sort of was a little bit disastrous, and you can see Chelsea Green at the end of the match definitely feeling the results of that. But you do the best you can. People do generally get hurt. That's why it's risky. I mean, other than that, it was basically what I think was an obligatory women's match. Like, I guess we've got to get a women's match on the card because it's just all guys. So sure, why not give Selena a title defense, keep the belt on her for a while. It was fine. Right result. Don't give it back to Chelsea. Push Chelsea Green more into the line. Yeah.
I do agree with that, but she isn't in the Money in the Bank. She got eliminated.
Yeah,
which was surprising.
Very surprising. I mean, is Intercontinental a progression from United States Championship?
It is at the minute, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be. If we can talk about that as we get through. So, creating drama for no reason, even though you know what we're going to say. Then we moved on to, yet again, a surprising listing, John Cena versus Rtruth. Not for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Because
why did they do that?
Get Cena on the card. To be quite honest.
Why not give Rtruth a shot at the belt? He's going to lose, but
of course,
why did it have to be not for the title? I don't get that. Usually when they used to do that, it meant that the person that is contending will beat the champion.
Yeah.
When it's then a title, that's what usually happens.
I mean, yeah, I saw. It's kind of cool to see Rtruth actually back in a wrestling ring when having a match. To be quite honest, because I don't think he's done it for a very long time. He's kind of usually just been on the sides. He's the comic relief character. Basically, the easiest paycheck you can possibly get in the WWE right now. But he's been around for probably maybe almost as long as Cena. He's definitely, I reckon, hitting maybe the 15-20 year mark. To be quite honest, I could be wrong on that one. But this was fine. This match was even shorter. It was 4 minutes and 25 seconds. which I thought was fine because it's Rtruth. He's not really in any storylines whatsoever, but they wanted to get Cena on the card for Saturday Night Pay-Per-View. Sure.
Yeah.
Rtruth came out as what John Cena was in comparison to what he is now, doing all of his tropes, the baseball cap and everything, head to toe in merch, dashing down to the ring and everything, also hitting the 6 moves of doom, I think they call it. And it was fine. It was fine. It was never going to be anything spectacular, but it was fine. A little 4-minute thing. Yeah. I got nothing else to say on that other than it was sensible.
It was quite entertaining.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was all right. Then moving,
it was a bit of fun.
Yeah,
bit of fun.
I would say that was pretty much an entire synopsis of this pay-per-view. It was a bit of fun. A steel cage match with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I thought it was okay. I thought the ending was quite anticlimactic, if I'm going to be honest. I was like, oh, that's how we're doing this. Okay, so does this feud continue, or we put that to bed? Nah. It was fine. It was okay.
I think that's the end of Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. It has to be. Drew had his win. Damian had his.
Yeah.
He walked out of the ring.
Yeah.
And looked back at his fallen victim in the ring, and then walked into the sunset.
Yeah.
That should be it.
Yeah. It should be it. It was.
Yes.
It was a textbook cage match. But yeah, it was fine. It was okay.
This just brings me, however, Rich, to the thing that I disliked the most about the mini pay-per-view.
Go for it.
And that is, Jesse the Body Ventura. I just don't think he should have been there. Also, when he's commentating on this match specifically, it's, why did he go out of the cage? Why did he walk out of the cage? And instead of going all the way over the top, he kept on saying it. Oh, why didn't he go over the top? Like, it made a difference where he exits the cage.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the stipulations. You should know that. You've been involved in the industry how long? Like, since the 80s. You know what the rules of a steel cage match is. Just...
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think maybe having him there at the beginning, just as an introduction, the little podium thing. I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
He's of that era. He's so I guess why they bring him in. But having him on commentary, I think, was a bold move because he just rambles on. Like, about at one point, I think they're trying to get him to be quiet, and he's just rambling on about something, and it's like, yeah, that's great. Shut up. Like, you can try to get on with the show. But sure, he's of that time period. So, okay, but commentary, yeah, maybe not do that. Too much Body Ventura.
Not so much.
But yeah, it was, and I guess that leads in to our final event, which is Jey Uso versus Logan Paul, and there was one very lucky kid in a pink t-shirt who was given a moment that I'm sure he's never going to forget. This was some high quality yeeting as Jey Uso came through the crowd, and then got that kid doing the yeeting like this, and then the camera cut back to him as Jey Uso went down to the ring, and you can just see this kid who was just absolutely elated, just like like this. I'm like, he will never forget that. And so that was a really nice moment. And I think right there is a little.
We would probably be like that now, Rich.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll sit here and I'll talk about how I'm not really that into Jey Uso, but of course, I'm not going to sit there and go, I will not eat with you. But then again, doing it with a kid is obviously a very different than being a 41-year-old man doing this. Next to him is like, yeah. But this is just a little moment. This was a capsule of like why Jey Uso is so popular. Because of this. They just want to dance to his music. Yeah. On with the match. What did you think?
I think it could have been more with Logan Paul. I don't know what's going on. I feel like they should. I don't know whether they've asked him to tone back a bit in his last few matches, like the flashy stuff, so that people hate him a bit more.
Possibly.
I think that's what's happening because he hasn't done a lot of those high flying spots. He's just like worked his heel tendencies, I think.
Yes. I mean, he is naturally hated, which makes him a perfect heel, and he's a great heel. He's really good. A lot of people really don't like Logan Paul. I don't like him as a character because I'm supposed to not like him, but I don't really see why people hate him so much, if I'm completely honest. I think it's obviously to do with his YouTube background. I think he just spends a lot of time coming across very arrogant, or I don't know. But I don't see any reason to hate him. The guy is monstrously successful, so I guess that's easy to hate. But I think he's toned back the high-flying stuff because I saw in some interviews, I think it was with Undertaker, actually. I think Taker was on his podcast, and it was him saying, you want to be careful with this high-flying stuff that you're doing because you want to make that a rare occasion if you're going to do it. Like, do it for a WrestleMania, a SummerSlam, or a major pay-per-view. Because if you do it too often, the crowd is going to expect, what is he going to do? Like Shane McMahon kind of got himself into that trap of like, what is Shane going to do? This really going to put himself at risk. But people expect it, and if they don't get it, that's what we were waiting for, you know. So the match was fine. Obviously had moments with, which I got confused earlier on, the return of Cody Rhodes. Sure, okay. Which was kind of cool. And then so you've obviously now got a tag match of Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. And who was it? who helped him?
John Cena.
John Cena. God, we're really good at this, aren't we? Oh yeah, we watched that on Main Event, but can't remember anything about it. Do you know? So yeah, so that seems like your Money in the Bank match, which obviously the title's not going to be on the line. Sure, we can do that. I just don't know why it's not Punk versus Cena. To me, sure. It's right there, man.
Just a couple of the things with this. We kind of said, like, I think on one of the first podcasts, that Logan Paul would have been perfect to join up with The Rock, Cena, because of his YouTube status. And now they're going with it with this. And I kind of want to see what Cena's predicted. I kind of want that whole him and Logan Paul both with championships, because I think it would be brilliant, and I think it would create so much noise on the company. You got Logan Paul always carrying that championship around on his podcast and everything. Obviously it was too soon to do that because it was the first time, but I do think sometime this year he should get that world title.
It is putting a title on Logan Paul is kind of it's a bit of a dangerous move as well, because you are essentially taking a title away from the scene for a short period of time, because Logan Paul kind of gets given the Brock Lesnar treatment. Like, he doesn't really have to do anything to earn a spot at a championship match. He just gets it. Like, oh yeah, you're going to face Logan Paul now. And you look back over his career, he's had Roman Reigns, like a crown jewel and stuff like that. Like, he was slotted in and he was immediately put into matches with like the highest, like Roman Reigns, obviously Seth Rollins. He just gets championships. He doesn't need a Money in the Bank. He doesn't need anything like that, because they're going to give him title matches. So I think, and plus, he kind of turns up
definitely
whenever it's necessary. He doesn't really appear on Raw or SmackDown unless he's going to do a promo for a match. So, oh, by the way, I'm having a match at this pay-per-view. So I think putting a title on him would be kind of dangerous at the moment. And plus, it takes away a lot of what are all these other wrestlers fight for. You know, like Jey Uso seems like he's going to have the belt on him for a while. Maybe a little while longer, until we get on to, I guess, the next thing, really, which is Raw giving us a little bit more information as to what's happening in the future. So I'm going to put Saturday night pay-per-view to bed, and we'll move on to Monday Night Raw. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, just one very, very quick thing.
Sure, yeah.
After this one. Cody Rhodes' return, I believe that too soon.
Yes, I agree.
I think.
Because I'm just thinking, okay, you've got him involved in a tag match. Sure, that gets him at Money in the Bank. That sells tickets. What you do with that match to lead to SummerSlam, sure. I mean, he's going to have a match there. How it is going to be, I don't know. Do you put Cody Rhodes in Money in the Bank? No, you can't do it as in a match. I don't know. I do feel like it was too soon. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, what do you do with him? Because I can see a number of different ways of where this can go, and it doesn't involve Cody yet. It's like we're talking like in the autumn that something was going to probably happen with him, and I think that would have been a better place to bring him back. So yeah, it does feel too soon, but we don't know what they're planning. So let's just see what's happening. Overall, Saturday night's main event, I had fun. I had more fun with it than I expected. It was a nice little mini pop-up pay-per-view, 2 hours. More stuff happened than I realised. It was okay.
For me, just a bit confused, Rich, because I thought the whole thing was going to be Money in the Bank would be the winner of Logan Paul and Jey Uso would fight Gunther. But is that just somewhere else?
Yes.
That's going to happen. I thought that was happening at Money in the Bank.
Yes. So on Monday Night Raw, we had a promo basically just confirming Jey Uso versus Gunther, and it was a pretty decent promo because when I heard that Gunther was back in the championship scene with Jey Uso, I did kind of roll my eyes a little bit, going, again, we've just had this. We've just had a monstrous build-up, and an over-hyped build-up for WrestleMania, and we're doing it again. But I must admit, by watching it, I'm like, I am intrigued, actually, because like he did a promo, and Gunther just stared at him, just like, this time I'm gonna absolutely murk you. You know, he didn't say anything, but he said a lot with his eyes, and I was like, I'm kind of interested in this now, because now Jey Uso's not the underdog; he's now the defending champion. So you kind of elevated these characters a little bit more. So I think the only thing that undermines it is the fact that Pat McAfee had a match with him at Backlash, and kind of like sort of undersold it, like he was just there at commentary, just totally fine. Like every now and then going, oh, ow, oh, yeah, I remember that. Like he just gave him a dead arm, and I was like, I was thinking like Pat McAfee should be sitting there in a sling. Yeah. Just, like, hang on, I'm finding talking about this really difficult right now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just had a match with Gunther, so I thought that kind of undersells it a little bit. But you know, wrestling. Yeah. But I think having this at Money in the Bank. You've got SummerSlam round the corner, and there's going to be some high quality summer loving yeeting in that stadium. So I think, all right, we'll wait till SummerSlam for this. You don't really need to do much more promoting behind it. Sure, why not? Why not? Put the belt back on Gunther. What do you think?
He's got to redeem himself in some way, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Or does he?
I am intrigued.
They should have done. Yeah, they should have done Pat McAfee. Then they should have done him, not Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Next, but someone like Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Then Jey Uso. Rather than going, my only match so far has been Pat McAfee, and now I've got a world title shot.
Yeah.
You know, they should have done someone before then.
Yeah. The Pat McAfee match was the only, in my opinion, was the only interesting match on the Backlash card. And it worked, because I was like, okay, like this seems like out of nowhere. And I was like, basically you've got a lot of reruns. look, guys, we've got Backlash, we've booked the stadium, we've got a show, we've got to do it. So we need to make it a bit more interesting for people to watch. I guess I don't think the dynamic has changed because you don't actually pay for a pay-per-view anymore. Well, technically you don't. You've got a Netflix subscription. So there have been reports of like decrease in numbers on Cross Raw and SmackDown of like viewership and stuff like because it is just there. But obviously they're still pushing for people to watch the product because if people don't watch it, then obviously Netflix are going to look at it and think, actually, this $5 billion deal may not be working out. But I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. I think wrestling is here to stay on Netflix. I really hope it does because it is very convenient to watch SmackDown and Raw. Because when it was on the network, you only got Raw and SmackDown on there, but they were like 3-4 weeks old, which kind of made them irrelevant, in my opinion, unless you really wanted to watch that match that happened on that episode of Raw, to be honest. So, So I'm intrigued. I'm definitely more interested in seeing that match. And I'm like, SummerSlam, add it nice to the card. I think that would look quite good. So I need to turn my page. There we go. Didn't see that, but you did. So we opened up with The Vision. Seth Rollins coming out, doing his kind of his laugh and his visionary, and he's got his cronies with him now. Ooh, he's got Bron Breakker and he's got Bronson Reed with him. So, just basically
the bronze.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got his bros, his cronies, he's got his pathé, and just basically laying down the thing, saying we are going to take over. We're using absolute brute force and power. Yada yada yada. We're the best. We're the most powerful, and technically they are, to be quite honest. So I'm like, let's see what happens here. So I must admit, I didn't watch Raw start to finish all the way through. I watched the highlights on YouTube, and then I realized that the highlights actually didn't really give much away. So I actually went back and watched some matches from this. So overall, I thought this was, from what I saw, a solid episode of Raw. It gave us a lot more information, including a triple threat match with Dragon Lee. I wrote down Rey Fenix when I watched the highlights and realized I got completely the wrong wrestler, but easy mistake to make. Chad Gable and Penta, and I thought this was a brilliant triple threat.
But it puts Penta into the ladder match as well. I think you had him also in your ladder match.
I did. Unfortunately, Chad didn't make the cut. But
Chad didn't make it in. So there are our other prediction for him becoming Money in the Bank and the Triple A champ. Well, the Triple A champions probably can happen still. He's also on Worlds Collide, isn't he? Wrestling.
Yes.
As Chad Gable. So that's going to be interesting to see that.
Yes, it is. I mean, I love Chad Gable. The man is a beast. There were some really good spots in this match. And one that nearly went very wrong on Chad when Penta did the kind of like double. He got what's his name? He got Dragon Lee on his back in a weird kind of like full Nelson thing, and then he put them in for like a Dragon Pole driver. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And he kind of dropped Chad, but Chad's head wasn't facing forward; it was facing back. So he kind of like pushed his nut like that, and I went, "Oh!" like that. I'm thinking, okay, so in theory it sounded great, but I was like, execution. And I saw Chad roll out. Turns out he's absolutely fine. So I was like, whew. I was thinking, look cool, but also looked a bit like it was an eye opener. I was thinking, oh my word, I'm kind of getting weirdly Owen Hart, Steve Austin vibes on this one. I was like, that looked like it went pretty wrong. But there were lots of spots. Yeah, lots of good spots going on here, and I thought this triple threat is pay-per-view worthy, to be quite honest. I thought all three of these worked great together. Dragon Lee's suicide dive on Penta while he's being punched in the face by Gable, literally just threw his entire body Dolph Ziggler style. You just saw Chad just hitting Penta like this, looking over, and then he just saw Dragon Lee just like right into him, and I thought that looked really cool.
What was the finish of this match? I've forgotten.
Okay,
How
I
did it
really
end?
liked the finish, and I'm glad that Penta's in the match because Penta's in the Money in the Bank match not to win it. He's in it because we're going to get a very sweet ass Mexican destroyer on a ladder in some kind of variation. This is why he's in the match. So basically, the way it ended was, if I can remember, I've got it in my head. So Dragon Lee. Okay, Chad Gable goes onto the top rope after an altercation he has with that wrestler that's obviously in AAA, whose name I cannot remember, who intervenes. He does the whole springy kick thing.
Oh,
Phases him
yeah.
off. That leads to Dragon Lee doing his some kind of finisher, and then as he rolls out, he rolls straight into a seamlessly perfect Mexican destroyer, and then he throws him out the ring, and then Penta grabs Chad Gable, puts him into his actual finisher. Boom! 1, 2, 3. Penta's qualified for Money in the Bank. Penta is... He's a very reliable source for a good spot. You know, I like him a lot. He's very charismatic. I love his walk that he has. He's very distinctive amongst the luchadors because, like I said, Dragon Lee, Rey Fenix, same guy, in my opinion, at the moment. So, yeah. He definitely was good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that Mexican destroyer on that ladder spot in Money in the Bank. So that's what I'm waiting for.
Rey Fenix might be in that match as well. You never know, like because he's on SmackDown, isn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Just before it goes out of my head,
go for it.
Can we just point out that Seth's faction?
Yes.
They both his allies start with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
So do you have to have the Bron in your name to be part of this faction?
Yeah, we need more bronze. Any more bronze out there?
Is there anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they could be
Seth and the Bronze.
Yeah.
Has he got a Bron in his name, though, Rich? He needs to have a Bron in his name, or he cannot come in.
Ron Gable. It's like, yeah,
Becky,
you can change their names.
Bronson.
Yeah.
Lynch.
Bronson Lynch.
Bron Lynch.
Bron Lynch.
Yeah. But anyway, go back to your Raw card.
Okay, and this is in no particular order because I had a bit of spare time before we did the podcast, so I thought instead of watching the highlights, I'm going to watch some of it. I had 40 minutes to kill. I can get through Raw in 40 minutes. Then we had the return of Liv Morgan, who received a great reaction when Roxanne Perez is kind of like, sort of like, you know, trying to get in there with Dom a little bit. Like, oh, fancy a chicken nugget? Like, you know, always key to a man's heart is a big plate of chicken nuggets, giving him a little massage. And then Liv Morgan appears playing the jealous, not happy lady. And her reaction on camera was like, what? It was like, yeah, okay. I like Liv Morgan a lot. I've over the past year, ever since Elimination Chamber, I've definitely kept more of an eye on Liv Morgan. I think she's really found her feet with her character. And yeah, but unfortunately, it was not enough.
Yeah, definitely.
As she had a match with Kairi Sane.
Sane, what's her name?
Kairi Sane, is it? Kairi Sane?
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, her. Which I thought was quite surprising.
The one from Damage Control.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so we're going to put her in the Money in the Bank match. Obviously, they've got other plans with Liv. They've created a little bit of tension between her and her partner.
Well, I predicted Roxanne Perez to win the Money in the Bank. Could something go wrong with the whole Liv, Rachel Rodriguez?
Yeah.
Trying to get her, try to upset her in that Money in the Bank match, goes wrong, and she ends up winning somehow. Could something like that happen?
I think so. I think so.
It's hard.
I think you're going to have interferences across both Money in the Bank matches. And I think that's what's going to happen. So Roxanne Perez may be up to win it, but then Liv sort of betrays that. She stops her from winning it. Because at the moment, in the women's Money in the Bank match, you've got Kairi Sane, whose name I keep saying wrong, Roxanne Perez, and Rhea Ripley. And based on that, it looks like Ripley's taken it. But we don't know who the other additions to the match are.
Oh, you got Alexa Bliss as well.
Oh, is Alexa Bliss in there as well? Yeah. Yeah. We could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, if Alexa Bliss to win Money in the Bank. Could work. Could work. But yeah, I think Liv's definitely going to get involved.
You've got that other woman as well. Julia's
in it
as well.
Julia's in Money in the Bank,
which I was surprised about.
Yeah, you got a lot of
So
no
it's
disrespect.
Julia, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez. I'd suspect, Rich, the only other person that could get put in there now is Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
She's got to have that last spot, surely.
Yeah. I think Jade Cargill will be at this point. It's quite in my opinion, for Money. This is quite a strange setup. Like, Rhea Ripley was always in it. I was like, she is definitely going to be on the card. She's going to be Money in the Bank, and at the moment, I see her winning it. If I'm honest. Because I'm like, she's just a much bigger name. Alexa Bliss is close. She's kind of on the similar sort of level of Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley she's the biggest women's wrestler in the WWE. Arguably the biggest women's wrestler on the planet at this point. But I just kind of, I can see Rhea possibly, most likely winning the match. And that way she's got her gateway into going back against Io Sky, from which I thought kind of makes no sense because she's kind of already got that. They've already teased the Io Sky Rhea Ripley kind of rematch happening, so she doesn't really need women in the bank, Money in the Bank. So I'm a little confused, if I'm completely honest, about where this one can go. What do you think?
So let's look at those people again.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, my opinion, doesn't need it. Can challenge at any point for the title.
She can.
It's terrifying if she's terrifying if she has money bank. It's like Brock Lesnar had it.
Yeah.
He can. Rhea Ripley, like holding that briefcase over it. Yeah. It's scary, but they could put her into a title like they did at Mania. They just lobbed her in.
Yeah, exactly.
Alexa Bliss has been there before. I really like Alexa Bliss, but I don't think that it's going to be her.
No.
I'd like she's the one I want to win. Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
And then Julia and Roxanne Perez, they might team up for a bit. Because they've got the NXT bond there, and then there might be some fight in between them when it comes down to the crunch. But who's the most interesting person? Because we've got Tiffany and we've got Io Sky.
Yeah.
Who can go up against Tiffany out of those five? Roxanne Perez has already got a feud with Io Sky, so she could cash in on Io Sky.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's the thing, you see. I was thinking about Tiffany because I was like, who's her next opponent going to be? Because at the moment, you got like Charlotte Flair, and I guess some other people as well. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like anyone is really gunning after her at the moment. So you've got a bit of an empty void there to fill. And I'm not sure if any of these names...
Because Jade Cargill is the only name I could think of being excited. Jade Cargill is the only person you could throw in there against Tiffany Stratton, and it'd be exciting. I think.
Yeah. I think putting Julia in which is a little bit too... no disrespect to her, a kind of a waste of a position at the moment. Because Julia is she's in the United States scene,
but she beat Julia beat Charlotte Flair and someone else. Charlotte Flair, and I think it was Zelina Vega. I think she beat in the bank qualifier.
Yeah.
On SmackDown. And that was Charlotte Flair was saying, "Oh, I'll win that and I'll contend for the title."
Yeah.
And then Tiffy was like, "Well, you don't even need to do that. Like, you're Charlotte Flair."
Yeah.
Like, so Charlotte Flair doesn't need to be in it either.
No, she doesn't. I think that would be
interesting. It's interesting because it's got us thinking.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not not looking forward to this. I'm definitely interested in seeing where this goes. I think it's a very unusual lineup, but that also is kind of like, all right, where are you going with this then? So you're gonna put the Money in the Bank on Rhea Ripley, or are you gonna give someone a major push? Because I don't see Alexa Bliss winning it, but I could be completely wrong.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the thing is with Alexa Bliss is that I found her more interesting when she was kind of doing the kind of Wyatt thing. Maybe joining the. I don't know. Yeah. Not sure yet.
And she is kind of wearing the clothes still.
Yeah, it's there. She still has the finisher, the Sister Abigail. She's still using that. Yeah. Well, kind of her variation.
So could this be the point? This point where Nikki Cross comes out and helps Alexa Bliss win?
Maybe. I think there's going to be a lot of involvement across both matches. I've definitely got theories about the men's one anyway, but we'll get to that one in a moment. But yeah, I'm interested. By the way, Money in the Bank is next Saturday. so many shows.
Not this.
Next Saturday. It's a week this weekend.
Yeah.
It's on the 7th. So I'm like, wow, okay. So you've got another SmackDown and Raw to fill out your basically fill out your card. I personally don't think we need to do a Money in the Bank predictions video because we're pretty much doing it now. To be quite honest. But we'll just see, we never know. Let's just see what the weekend brings and see what else gets added to it. Okay, so then we had also on here, we had a tag match, a triple threat tag match for the Raw Championships, the War Raiders, New Day, and American Made. There were some good moments in this match. I kind of flicked through it because I was like, I'm not really that interested, if I'm honest, at the moment. But it was fine. New Day retained. They're not dropping the belts anytime soon. Neither should they. Then we had
No, definitely not.
Yeah, it was sure. Okay, why not? Then we had a decent promo for Becky versus Lyra Valkyria. Which is confirmed Intercontinental Championship for Money in the Bank. Yeah. Okay, so what are your thoughts on this one?
It's gonna be a. What do they call it? When they have three matches, they'll have the 3 matches. Becky lost the first. Becky will win the second. Valkyria will win it back.
Okay, so you're having Becky Lynch win the belt at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to, but because I thought the feud would probably be finished after that loss.
Yeah.
I think Becky's on this rampage now. Needs to validate herself.
Yeah.
Validate herself by being the baddie.
Yeah.
She needs something to have grabbed off somebody that she started to despise.
Yeah. Becky's doing an absolutely brilliant job as being a heel.
It's sad because the Dubliners have a very big ring.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Becky's taking the belt.
Dubliners.
And then I think they'll probably have a rematch again at SummerSlam. Maybe with a bit more of an interesting stipulation. Maybe a cage or something. I don't know what it might be. But yes. And that could... No, it wouldn't. I was about to say that's where the Money in the Bank cashing could get involved. But why would you cash in on a mid-card belt? I don't really see the point in that, to be honest. Because as you're a mid-carder, you're going to have a mid-card title match at some point. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be good. And then we have got our main event.
Sorry, just one more thing.
Sure, yeah.
As they're both Irish, what about a bar? As they're both Irish, what about a bar fight? Irish bar fight.
A stereotypical Irish match. What does that mean? Guinness pumps and leprechauns and stuff like that. This maybe culturally sensitive a little bit.
You've got to drink.
Be, do you know what? Street fight. Sure.
Yeah, Irish street fight. You got to drink as much as against each other.
Mm-hmm.
How much Guinness can you drink, Becky Lynch? I don't know.
Imagine wrestling on a belly full of Guinness. This is horrible. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, I
don't think I could. I don't think I can walk. I can barely walk after a Guinness, so I wouldn't be able to
definitely
fight.
Not. It's definitely a filling moment. I had 3 pints of Guinness and I feel like I've eaten a Sunday roast, and I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty bloated. But don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And then that takes us to another triple threat: Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor, which was also excellent. Not quite as good as the one before, but I thought it was good, and I think this was really good. But I also think it's foreshadowing what's going to happen in the men's Money in the Bank match, which I think there's going to be a lot of outside interference during this match. So I was cheering on for my boy Sami Zayn. I was like, oh, okay. So I thought at one point he had it. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. So I was like, that's okay, Sami, because you're going to win the Royal Rumble. So yeah. So this, interesting. Putting Seth in there, I'm like, okay. Before I say what I think, what do you think, man?
I still think it's going to be between Braun and Seth to take this Money in the Bank, with help from the new Bronson Reed as well.
Yeah.
I think we continue pushing that stable.
Yeah.
And I know that it's kind of a little bit wasted on Seth, but it solidifies the power and where we're going to go, what the angles are going to be in the future.
Yes.
I think it needs to be within them three.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
I'd
put it on Braun Breaker myself.
Yeah, honestly, I would as well. I think from a narrative point of view, it wouldn't make any sense yet to put it on Braun, because obviously you've got Seth Rollins. So I think at the moment there are 3 members, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. You've got LA Knight, you've got Penta, and you've got Seth Rollins. And that's what we know so far. Unless there's anyone else I'm forgetting. I think there's only 3 for the men's at the moment.
No, I think you're right.
Okay. I think we already have our winner in there.
Those 3.
There we go. I think we've already got our winner there between LA Knight and Seth Rollins. So I'm like, okay. So there's a couple of ways you could go with this. So at the end of the match, the triple threat, you had CM Punk come in to interfere. I think CM Punk is going to play a pivotal role in regards.
What a name!
CM Punk. If you don't know the name, Rich, just make them up. You know, and it's like everyone knows CM Punk.
Kaplunked it.
Kaplunked it. Plunky Pops is actually turned up towards the end, and he's really getting under Seth Rollins' nerves there, isn't he? But I think this is kind of showing what's going to happen. So I think that if they put the briefcase on Seth Rollins and he wins, which direction do you go? And I was like, so Seth Rollins, I don't think he should go for the World Heavyweight Championship belt. I think he should go for the big one, the undisputed one, because of his faction and his power. In my opinion, you can't be the most powerful faction if you don't have the most powerful belt. And let's be honest, the WWE undisputed one is just that little bit higher, isn't it? It's not World Heavyweight Championship. This is where the Roman Reigns, John Cena's, Cody Rhodes go. This is where the big boys like to play. So I think he should go for that. And
we had we had our first comment, by the way, Rich.
Really?
On one of the videos.
Okay.
And they said, see, not our first one, one of the first.
What did the comment say?
Cena holds his title All the comment said
Yeah.
Cena holds the title in his last match, keeps the title,
Yeah.
and then the Money in the Bank cash-in happens,
Right.
which would be good with your theory being Seth Rollins.
Yeah. So you could have one of the last matches between John Cena and CM Punk, because I think this is where I look at it. CM Punk wins the title off John Cena, or Seth Rollins comes in. Oh, okay, I think it's shaping together. John Cena versus CM Punk towards the end of the year. Maybe Survivor Series. Sure. November, why not? Get the belt off Cena.
Yeah.
CM Punk or Seth Rollins enters the ring, joins with Money in the Bank, making it a triple threat. Then he can bring in his cronies, Bron Breakker and all of that, get John Cena, get him out of the ring, beat him all up and everything. Seth, already beaten up from brawling with John Cena for 15 minutes, pins him, takes the belt, 1, 2, 3, or something like that. Or after CM Punk wins, holding the belt, they just batter him, cash it in, take the belt, and does all that kind of thing. I think that's a good way, because then you've got more of a feud.
Yeah.
Then you could have CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, possibly at the Royal Rumble for a championship match. And I was like, yeah, we could do that. I don't know.
Yeah. And you could always have Cena turn face right at the end there.
You could.
To help Punk out or something like that right at the end of his heel run.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
He's just lost his title. You think that he's going to join them, and then he ends up battering the Rollins faction, who at this point everybody despises by this point.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, that's it. Or Seth doesn't win. I don't know who else you're going to add for this, but you've got Seth and his buddies helping him to win Money in the Bank. Other people get involved, take those guys out, and I'm not sure who that would be. Maybe CM Punk does something to try and stop him from winning Money in the Bank, because that's kind of their feud at the moment. They're just screwing each other over. So CM Punk's got real beef with Rollins at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe then at that point, LA Knight just climbs the ladder and takes it. And I would like that, because LA Knight deserves it. I think he could do with another push. He's been in so many of these matches. He's always been almost there and not quite got it. Do I stick with LA Knight?
Yeah.
Do I go? I think they're going to put it on Seth. I think they're going to give him Money in the Bank. But I think LA Knight would be a good move. So I'm going to stick with LA Knight. I think, unfortunately, CM Punk comes in, he ruins the day. You can have that SummerSlam match without the title or whatever. That's Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Sure, you can do that. And then LA Knight has got a lovely shiny briefcase. But what does he do with it? Oh.
I think that you're absolutely right. Like, if it's you could probably put CM Punk in there as well. To be fair,
you could actually.
I'm just thinking of who I'd put Punk, Dominic Mysterio, and Bron Breakker into this match.
Right.
I think that would make it interesting enough where you think CM Punk could probably win that. Seth Rollins could win that.
Yeah.
Penta's not winning that.
No. No, he's not.
Dominic Mysterio's not winning, but how is he not winning? He's gonna, there's an interesting Judgment Day story you could tell there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Aleister Black? I don't know.
Aleister Black could go in there. He could. I mean, he is a mid-carder, but at the same time, that's the point of Money in the Bank. You could put Aleister Black in there. Possibly, yeah. Like I said, Rusev could go in there. Sheamus could go. Not 100% sure about that.
Drew McIntyre, I guess, could go in there.
Yeah, I was thinking Drew. I was thinking Drew McIntyre.
Sort of last minute people that could go into that men's Money in the Bank
Yeah.
ladder match. So we had Drew McIntyre, Damien Priest, Logan Paul, maybe.
Yeah. Logan Paul, maybe.
Oh, no, Logan Paul's in the tag match.
Yeah, can't use him. Yeah, we burnt through so wrestlers that we could actually use to make it a bit more interesting, to be honest. But like I said, I think they're going to put it on Seth, but I would like LA Knight to take it. I think he deserves a push, to be honest. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, again, CM Punk could qualify to it. That add a really good dynamic.
Yeah.
Bron Breakker technically doesn't need to be in the match because, say, if he wins it or he helps Seth to get the Money in the Bank, that would make sense because you don't want to cause tension within Seth Rollins with Division, Seth and Co. Not yet. It's too soon. They've just formed. You don't want to cause that tension yet, to be honest. So, yeah, Bron doesn't need to be in the match because he's going to be spearing everybody on the outside of the ring anyway. Like, he's going to be there. So, him and Bronson really well. So, yeah. And I think that...
Yeah.
But who else added to the match? At the moment, it's like, sure. Yeah. Aleister Black. Yeah, why not? Rusev? Sure, why not? Doesn't seem like Rusev is going to do it. Unless that's what they're going to do next week on Raw. Sheamus versus Rusev for a Money in the Bank qualifying match. That makes sense.
Okay.
Oh, got a few. Yep, you're still there. Okay. I think that could work. Who would I have win it? Rusev, if I'm honest.
I like Sheamus, but he is kind of there as a talent enhancer now, isn't he?
Yeah. It's great to see him. He has some good matches, but I don't see anything significant for him storyline wise at the moment. I think there's a lot going on. So like I said, I think Seth winning Money in the Bank.
He needs that. Sorry, the only thing Sheamus should do now in his career is win that Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Or Penta wins Money in the Bank, cashes it in for another Intercontinental Championship match, and loses.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. That's terrible.
And then has another shot next week on SmackDown. Yeah.
Oh.
So any other thoughts?
I've had a thought. What if, not a winner, just as a good entry, Joe Hendry recently just lost the TNA championship, didn't he?
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he shall appear. But yeah, I mean, I think Joe Hendry is at the moment, he's just really over, and I think they're looking to maybe take him away from TNA and put him more in WWE. But it's just a thought. Maybe he'll have a SummerSlam match or something like that, I think that might be quite an interesting thing to put him in Money in the Bank. Sure, of course he's not winning it. It'd just be really cool to have that moment on the ladder, doing that. Oh, yeah. I think that he does, which is simple but great. So,
and then it gets pushed off.
His name just entered into my mind. Jacob Fatu. What do we do with Jacob Fatu? What do we do with him towards SummerSlam? Because Money in the Bank is like, obviously SummerSlam's a 2-night event now.
Rich.
Bigger, yeah.
Solo Sikoa's in this match, I've just remembered.
Oh, Solo Sikoa's in Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Right. That gets the Bloodline involved. Bloodline... Seth goes to climb the ladder. Bron Breakker starts taking people out. The Bloodline start getting involved. Jacob Fatu start taking out Seth Rollins' cronies. That's where LA Knight conquers over them. And then you could have LA Knight win Money in the Bank, and then Seth Rollins and his mates against Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline at a SummerSlam match. Could be interesting.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So there's only two more spots in there.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't even know Solo Sikoa was in the match. A poor guy. He's kind of just been pushed aside.
He was the first one.
Oh, was he? I thought LA Knight.
Yeah, he was the first one to qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, completely forgot about him though. Completely forgot.
Yeah. I mean, at some point, yeah. At the moment, Jacob Fatu is doing wondrous things. I think it's more his feud with his own bloodline is kind of a bit more interesting to see who's going to take the belt off Fatu, because I don't think he's going to lose it anytime soon. But that doesn't mean he can't be involved. So, yeah, there's a few ways you could go with this, which makes it interesting. So you could add a couple more members to that. Maybe you could add another member. Like, I don't see Aleister Black joining his faction. Possibly Rusev joining Seth Rollins' faction. Rusev, Bronson Reed, and Bron Breakker. That's a pretty destructive force. Let's be honest. You know.
Yeah. Bronsev.
Bronsev. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bronef. But it's yeah, I think that might be quite good. That would give it, and that way you could have people. You could have Seth go for the WWE Undisputed Championship. You could have Bron going for the World Heavyweight Championship, which is clearly where I think it's going. And then you've got Rusev, who are around the Intercontinental United States kind of vibe. So you could make them a really destructive force, which is, I think, what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to make this the new bloodline, the new top faction to take down. This can go all the way through to most likely Mania next year. And then you could have Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble. And is it too much to say Sami? I've always saw Sami going for the World Heavyweight Championship, but is it too much to ask him to go for the WWE Undisputed Championship? Is Sami Zayn going to be in the main event Sunday night at WrestleMania next year? I don't think so. I think that's too much. Yeah. He's definitely more World Heavyweight Championship, I think. But then again, of course, Roman Reigns.
I think. Yeah. I think it will be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins next year at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then I think this is what I think would happen.
Yeah.
If Sami Zayn wins the Rumble, I think it should be Logan Paul versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah. Yeah. That could work.
Thinking.
So yeah. Imagine that. Imagine if the last spot went to Roman Reigns. And I was like, oh, now that adds some dynamic to it. Paul Penta, you haven't got a chance. This is like, based on this. But I think Roman Reigns is too big of a name to put in this. But he would add an interesting dynamic because of obviously their history with Seth, losing to him, taking Paul Heyman away from him. You've got the bloodline going on here, supporting Solo. Roman Reigns has got history with the bloodline. Seth Rollins is right there. There's a lot of drama going on there, to be quite honest. But does that make it too big of a match? Possibly. But narratively, interesting. But I don't know. Roman doesn't really need to appear at the moment. He can just hit when he comes back. Will he have a match at SummerSlam? Maybe. Don't know. He might not even be on the card. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, but I don't know.
No.
Let's see what happens with that. But yeah. I think that's it, Mark, to be quite honest.
I think we've covered as much as we can cover this week, considering we didn't think there'd be a lot to cover in general. We thought this would be a quieter podcast. We've had a lot of information there.
SmackDown, Saturday night Saturday night main event, Raw, Money in the Bank, 4. So, yeah, I think it's I think it's fair to say we don't need to do a podcast next week, because unless SmackDown and Raw are like on fire, like, you know what I mean? It's thinking like, oh, 2 more members have been added to the men's Money in the Bank match. That's CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Just saying. Then it'd be like, this could be the best Money in the Bank match like ever. Like, I'd like to be honest. So, but we'll see. So yeah. Anything else to
add? No, do you have a closing line?
Closing line. Well, in that case, everybody, thank you very much for listening to us ramble on about our theories about Money in the Bank and our opinions on Saturday night main events. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you next time.